Welcome back to the Fifth Quarter Show Seasons. Glad to have you here as we look back at Hamilton's wonderful history of football. In previous episodes, we learned that the Hamilton Football Club was founded in 1869 during a meeting above George Lee's fruit store at King and James Streets, where a group of like-minded individuals formed a rugby football club. Today, we're traveling back to 1910. The Hamilton Football Club became known as the Tigers and dressed in black and yellow striped uniforms. The Tigers were one of the founding clubs that played in the Ontario Rugby Football Union, along with teams from Toronto and Ottawa. And they claimed the first ORFU championship for our city in 1897, but lost to Ottawa in the Canadian Dominion Championship later that same year. In the previous episode, we also learned that the Tigers won their first Dominion Championship in 1906, and the next season, Hamilton left the ORFU and joined the Interprovincial Rugby Football Union, along with the Toronto Argonauts, Ottawa Roughriders, and Montreal Winged Wheelers. The IRFU would later be called the Big Four, and eventually became the East Division when the Canadian Football League was formed in the 1950s. Hamilton won its second Dominion Championship in 1908 by defeating the Varsity Blues from Toronto 21-17. That same year, Hamilton poet Robert Stanley Weir published the English lyrics to O Canada, which was formally approved by the federal government as our national anthem in 1967. 1909 marked a pivotal moment for football in Canada. That was the year the Grey Cup was first awarded. Queen Victoria appointed Lord Stanley of Preston as the Governor-General of Canada in 1888, and he quickly became a fan of hockey. So much so, in 1893, he purchased a silver punch bowl in Sheffield, England, and had the words Dominion Hockey Challenge Cup engraved on one side and From Stanley of Preston engraved on the other. You now know that trophy to be called the Stanley Cup. It's the world's most famous trophy. Well, enter Albert Grey, the Earl Grey, Canada's Governor-General from 1904 to 1911, and he too wanted to donate a new championship trophy to the best hockey team. But businessman Sir Montague Allen donated the Allen Cup to the Canadian Amateur Hockey Champions. So Grey donated his trophy, the Grey Cup, to the Canadian Amateur Rugby Football Champions starting in 1909. The University of Toronto Varsity Blues were the first to claim the Grey Cup, beating the Toronto Parkdale Canoe Club 26-6 on December 4th, 1909. The following year, 1910, Hamilton hosted the Grey Cup Championship final for the first time. The Tigers won 4 of their 6 games in the IRFU season, and the championship final was played at Hamilton's AAA grounds on the north side of Charlton Avenue West between Queen and Locke Streets. The second Grey Cup final between the Hamilton Tigers and inaugural champion Toronto Varsity Blues attracted 12,000 spectators to the HAAA grounds. And thanks to touchdowns by Red Dixon and Jack Maynard, the Varsity Blues capped their second consecutive undefeated season by beating the Tigers 16-7 to claim their second of 3 straight Grey Cup titles. Hamilton could only muster a field goal by Kid Smith and 4 singles. 1910 was an important year for Hamilton off the football field as well. That year marked the start of steelmaking operations at Stelco. The Barton Street Arena first opened, and so too did the Royal Hotel, later renamed the Royal Connaught. Now, despite the Tigers' loss in the 1909 title game, Hamilton would not have to wait too much longer to celebrate their first Grey Cup championship, although it was not the Tigers who would lift the trophy. That's next on the Fifth Quarter Show Seasons, dropping every Tuesday during the CFL offseason. Don't forget to check out the Fifth Quarter Show Legends every Thursday on this channel. You will definitely not want to miss that episode. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and tell your friends. Until next time, Oski Wee Wee.